What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader. So we're back again for another Minecraft 1.16 video tutorial today, just like we did yesterday with the how to install XRAY for Minecraft 1.16, which may interest you. But today we're back for another resource pack, but this is an entirely different style. Not XRAY, not anything that gains an advantage for us. This is just a basic texture pack which makes the blocks just look far better. This resource pack just adds some custom 3D models. It features smooth edge 3D models that make the normal standard blocks in the game look a lot nicer. And a lot of those blocks in the game which aren't actually 3D, for an example the crafting bench, which we can see pictured here in this picture, is now 3D with this pack because it adds models to actually improve the blocks. So the crafting bench, as you can see, has things like 3D hammers, 3D saws, clippers, things like that to give it more of a three-dimensional feel to the game as it should be. So the Default3D pack is one of my personal favourite 3D solutions for Minecraft, which is why I'm going to show you that there's actually a way to install it for Minecraft 1.16, which is pretty weird since it's only been out since a day, but they've actually prepared it initially for the snapshot version of 1.16, which we can actually use on the newest version too. So I'm going to link this in the description down below. You're going to have to go to this website called hightailtexturepack.com, which is their official URL, or the official download mirror for it now, and you'll go and scroll down and click download Default3D, and there's a few different options. Okay, now this is quite nice because they have options for literally every single version. So we have options all the way from 1.8, which is quite old at this point, all the way up to 1.15, and then there's a new 1.16 one, which is the Default3D snapshot, which says new. So look for this where it says 1.16, and just click download this version. So it says this pack is exactly what its name implies. It's derived from high, which is the variant of the pack. There's low, medium and high, but it features models for the newest blocks and items that are added during snapshots, aka the 1.16 release. Note that these snapshot models are rarely featured in any other pack. So just go ahead and download this. This was made initially before 1.16 was officially released yesterday. This is being made, this tutorial, a day after 1.16's release. But this was made during the snapshot, so they've already prepared it for the game, so it should basically work now that we're actually in the official release, because the last snapshots are very similar to the final version we actually got, especially in terms of blocks. So wait for it to download. I'm just going to wait for it to download in the corner. And then when we've done that, we're going to go to our Minecraft folder and transfer it from our downloads folder. Now, we've used Default3D before. I've made a tutorial for it. It was very popular. I think I made one for 1.14.4. So it is a really sought after texture pack. So a lot of people will find this useful and pretty awesome to actually download. So when you go into your downloads folder, you should actually have the download at the top or wherever your most recent downloads are. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to click cut on this file, and then we're going to transfer it. Now everyone knows how to get into .minecraft. I do usually have to explain this every time because obviously some people are new. So what you would do is you would go ahead to your .minecraft folder, and to do that click on the search bar here if you're on Windows 10, the white space, and do $sign app data, $sign, press enter, and .minecraft is the folder here. We're going to jump in, and it's the same like all other resource packs. I'm just going to go into the resource packs folder, and we're going to paste this in here. Okay, now I'm just going to double click this to make sure there's no folders inside. Okay, everything seems normal, so you don't have to extract this zip file. You can just throw the zip file in the resource packs folder. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just launch 1.16, which is now 1.16.1 because they've actually already released a little hotfix or slight update since yesterday, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. So we're going to jump into 1.16. and we're going to try out the texture pack and put it into motion, and I'm just going to show you the differences between vanilla and this pack. Now I'm not going to make a direct comparison by switching the two for every single block, but I'm going to spawn a few different blocks in vanilla and then switch to the 3D pack and show you the changes that it makes when we actually use that pack, because I think it's really interesting to actually show you how much this actually changes Minecraft in terms of the normal blocks. Everything looks so much nicer when they actually look 3D with this pack. There are obviously other 3D packs which we can test out. I will make videos on those, but Default3D is one of my favourite because it doesn't really change much of the actual vanilla blocks. It still keeps the vanilla style, but it makes them look far better. Boom, so we're actually back in Minecraft. So I'm going to click options. We're on the 1.16 menu, and I'm going to jump in resource packs just to double check that everything's worked. And if we scroll down, you should now have the default 3D snapshot for 1.16. Okay, this is perfect, so I'm going to disable the XRAY texture packs that we used for the last video tutorial, and we're going to go back to the vanilla textures. And I'm going to just jump into a world, and in our 1.16 world, I'm going to spawn some blocks, because I want to show you just which blocks change with this, because a lot of the interesting simple blocks do actually change with this pack as well. For an example, the mushrooms actually change to 3D. So we're in the desert right now, so I'm going to go over to the savanna biome right next door because we can actually build on the grass. And I'm just going to clear my inventory because we currently have the inventory for villager breeding. So I'm going to spawn a few things. So first of all, we'll spawn some mushrooms. Just basic mushrooms. We don't need to spawn many things. So we're going to place some mycelium and we're going to place some mushrooms down on top of those, just so we can place the mushrooms at any different light level, and then we can show you the mushrooms. Another thing is actually the walls. So we're going to just spawn a cobblestone wall just to kind of show you this. Basically the walls look far much better when they're 3D because they have all the different grooves and bumps from all the cobblestone, and that's exactly the same with the standard cobblestone blocks. So I am going to just spawn some cobblestone here as well and make kind of like a cobblestone pillar, just so we have an example of that. Then the flowers are also changed. Most of the flowers are actually kind of boring in normal vanilla Minecraft, so this is actually a really nice change. So we're just going to spawn a few flowers. Personally, I think the best flowers that are changed are the sunflowers because they look a lot better. So when you're actually in the sunflower fields, you should definitely be able to see this effect of the new 3D flowers. Bricks also quite nice as well because the brick blocks actually look like they have individual bricks that make up the block. They don't just look like a cube like the normal bricks, so we'll spawn some of those as well. And we can go ahead and spawn ourselves some tools so we can actually make a tiny little farm. The reason for doing this is because we want to place down some crops, because for an example the wheat actually has changed as well. So I'm gonna have to spawn some bone meal just to show you this, and basically the wheat when it's fully grown looks far better. So let me just place down some wheat. I'm not sure if it's just the wheat or if it's other crops as well, but we're just going to spawn wheat for now because that's the most basic one and the easiest one to do. And then another example which I would like to show is lily pads, and we have a little pool over here, so I can just go ahead and place a few lily pads in this pool next to it, and then we can use this for reference. Just look how boring the normal lily pads are when they're flat. I'm just going to spawn a few of them. They look pretty bland. And one of my personal favourites that Default3D improves is actually the jack-o'-lantern. So we're going to place one jack-o'-lantern below the brick, so we've got 2 blocks there, and another one is the ores. So usually when you actually start mining you'll actually find some ores. Well, basically we're going to spawn a few of these ores, and I personally think that diamond is the most appealing, especially with this mod. And we can also spawn some of that new nether gold which has been added in the nether update as well, and some normal gold and some lapis lazuli for an example. And we're just going to place those on the floor below us because it'll give us a good idea of what they look like. And then I'll place 2 diamond blocks here above ground so we have a good example of all of those ores down there as well. And then we'll go ahead and just place some random blocks down, like the normal crafting blocks and just a lot of the standard blocks which we create. So I'm going to scroll down this list and find some pretty important blocks, and we'll place them down and just see how they get changed. This is exactly what we did last time in the last comparison video which I made for 1.14 for Default3D. You'll see a lot of the standard blocks like the furnaces and ladders and rails are most affected, which make them look really nice. Bookcases, blocks like that which you can expect, maybe even trapdoors. So I'm going to go ahead and just place a few of these blocks down, and then we'll be back in a moment and I'll make the comparison when I've placed everything. Okay, boom. So what we've gone ahead and done is I've placed a whole row of a different selection of blocks, flowers, ores, items, just a whole different selection of different variants of things, just so you can have a good idea of what everything looks like normally. I'm sure most people who play the game will know what everything looks like default. But now if we go to the options and resource packs, just like any texture pack, I'm going to enable the Default3D pack and press done, and now when everything loads, those custom 3D models should take into effect, and we can see just how everything's been changed now that we've had a first look for comparison. It may load quite slowly as well because it does have a lot of different models in this pack. It's quite a beefy pack. So now we've changed it, not every block that we place will have had any changes, but it's interesting to see which ones do. Okay, so straight away we can see the crafting bench is fully 3-dimensional, So you can see all of these different faces and edges and grooves which have been added onto it, which we already saw in the picture before. And it's the same for the redstone lamps. I think the redstone lamps look really nice right now as well. If we just place down a redstone torch, this is one thing which I actually forgot to mention, is the torches actually have custom models too. So we can place a redstone torch here to illuminate the lamp, which makes it a little bit more visible. But the redstone torches and normal torches are actually 3D too, and they look really nice. So if we place the new torch down, which is the soul torch from the 1.16 update, this hasn't yet been changed. I'm sure this will be at some point in the new update, because 3 torches kind of all need to be different. But it's nice if you want to just use that for a vanilla look. So the chests are the same, and the observer's the same. The enchanting table has more of these slight blocks on the corner, which have more depth to them as well, so that's slightly changed. You can see there's more grooves on the jukebox where you actually put the CD in to make it look more realistic, and the fences look completely different. You'll see there's far more extended pieces on the fences. You can tell that's definitely a custom model. I think the fences probably look the best in the pack. That's my favorite feature. And then also over here, the lily pads actually have proper 3D flowers on top of them. Not always, but sometimes they'll have a nice little petal on top, which is pretty cool, and the whole thing is fully 3D instead of just one flat piece of paper like they usually look like. So that looks far better. The cobblestone, you can see the extra detail like I mentioned before, which is really nice, and that also works for the cobblestone walls, so they do seamlessly connect just like they should do, which is really nice. And the wheat, instead of the wheat just being one flat sprite, the wheat is actually a proper full block. So you can see each strand of the flower actually looks more realistic now. So I think the crops is probably the best change. If we punch the wheat, you can see it just breaks normally, we're not in survival mode. And the mushrooms, which are probably one of the worst looking things in Minecraft because there's just 2 textures crossed over diagonally. It's a real mushroom now. Like, these are proper mushroom heads that you find in a forest. So it makes the game a lot more immersive than it usually would be. And it's the same for all the flowers here, especially the sunflower. This looks really nice. I think the sunflower fields biome would look a lot better. The jack-o'-lantern looks like it's actually being carved out. The block isn't fully flat, so it looks like someone's actually carved it out, which is nice. And the bricks have individual faces to them. The only complaint I have though about the bricks is they don't look like they're together. I guess the gaps could be the cement in between the bricks, but I think the bricks still look a lot better than usual. And the new Nether gold hasn't been changed yet because some of the 1.16 stuff hasn't been changed. But all of the other ores, you can see the actual metals inside the rock do actually stick out now, so it's a lot more realistic and cooler. And trapdoors have a little bit more depth to them as well. And the books pop out in the bookshelves. The TNT, you can see all of the individual dynamites from the grooves in between, so it separates them together so it doesn't just seem like one flat block. And the top of it looks like a real dynamite fuse that you can actually set a light to with the flint and steel, so it makes it more realistic, because usually on the normal TNT texture you can't really see the fuse of it, so it doesn't look like it could actually explode. And then the sticky piston, the white grooves do actually pop out, but there's not too much changed in that. The rail is actually a lot nicer now that it actually has more faces to it. It looks like a minecart could actually sit on the rail, because usually in Minecraft the rail does not look strong whatsoever. And it's the same with a few other blocks which I forgot to spawn. So we can spawn the cartographer's table, which looks a little bit better. You guys can probably notice that. I don't use this much, but I can already tell the cartographer's table looks really nice with the items stored at the bottom and the globe over there. And the same for the minecarts as well. The minecarts have seen a little bit of an upgrade. Not that much different, but a little bit of an upgrade there. You can notice it more with the chest carts, specifically the wheels, which you can't really see so much right now. And powered rail is also the same as well. So if we just replace the powered rail, I think the powered rail is probably one of the nicest upgrades out there. Obviously some of the items like the carrot on a stick and things like that have been changed as well. You can't notice it as much, but when you do spawn it, you can definitely tell that the full item's been changed. And I'm not sure if the boats have been changed. No, the boats are normal vanilla. But the ladders look a lot better as well, so you'll notice when you do place down the ladders, they are actually fully dimensional. And if you look at the tools down here, the last thing I'm going to show you is actually all of the armor. Even the netherite has been updated, which is weird because a lot of the nether blocks from this update haven't been upgraded yet in this pack, but the netherite's actually already been done. So you can see when we place it on our character, it's normal. it just looks like the normal armor. That's not been changed. But when you throw it down on the ground and when you see it in your inventory, the actual items that are dropped actually look like real armor instead of just a graphic. So that's a real nice change, and that's the same for all of the other armors, like diamonds, as you can see in my inventory. And also the weapons. Personally, the best one for me is the chainmail, because you can actually fully see through it when you drop it, so it looks like real chainmail, and I really do like that. So I'll just equip the shield. The shield looks a little bit different in first person, but if you go into third person, all of the studs on the shield, everything just looks far better. And if we get our diamond sword as well and go from the front, you can see it already looks more detailed. So that's the default 3D pack. Personally, I really like it. I think it just makes the game look a lot better. And even though Minecraft doesn't have great graphics, I think just the simple additional model changes really improves how the game looks. So make sure to like the video and subscribe if this video was helpful, and I'll be showing you some more cool resource packs in the next few days and weeks on the new Minecraft update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.